What is happening? So I got the firewood stacked. Yay, good news. And now I have time to do what I really want to do, work on the WRX. Hell yeah. So, first things first, I gotta ask the question. I'm fixing this up for my son who just turned 16. Am I crazy? Yes or no? Leave a comment. Thank you. We're gonna try and pull the motor out. So if you saw the earlier video, you know that the engine is shot. Thank you to everyone that commented and explained to me that it's probably rod knock or a spun bearing, because I don't know anything about Subaru engines, or didn't. Now I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I'm basically an expert now. So I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm definitely pulling the engine. I might rebuild it or try to rebuild it, or I might just JDM swap it. Leaning towards JDM swap because I'd like to drive it sooner than later. Right now we're gonna start tearing it apart, see if we can get the engine out of it. So there it is. I'm going to start by pulling the battery out and then try to get into the alternator, AC compressor, power steering, pump. That's the game plan, I think. All right, the battery's out. Very small step, but we finally started, so I'm psyched out of my mind. And there's a bird's nest directly above me, and I'm hoping the bird doesn't poop on me. All right, now I realize that I probably want to take the radiator out before I mess with the alternator, etc. Give us some more room. So I'm gonna jack the car up a little bit, throw out the front on jack stands, and see if I can drain the radiator and pull the radiator next. Conveniently located. Alright, so we got the WRX jacked up on jack stands. And there's this plastic under tray, so we got to pull that off before we can get to anything. Looks like a couple bolts here, there, everywhere. We'll yank that off and then we can drain the radiator. Super convenient, but I'm on a slope. Doing this on a slope, terrible idea. Terrible idea. Yeah, so to get this off, there's a bolt here in the front. There's one in the center, in the back. And I've got all those off. It's still attached. I think it's got some body panel clips on each side. So we'll pull those and then this thing should come down. It's well worth the $5-6 to buy yourself a trim puller kit. I finally broke down and got one. And yeah, makes your life a lot easier. So looking behind the wheel, trying to look behind the wheel. This one right here. There's one on each side. You pull that and the panel will drop right down. Okay, there you go. Under tray dropped out right there. And now, you can see under the car. It was my first time seeing any of this. Pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. Yeah, all right, that's it. I gotta go to a barbecue. Check back later. All right, I'm gonna drain the radiator on the WRX so I can take it out. It's important to have the right tools. You wanna have something, a proper pan to catch the radiator fluid in, the antifreeze. So I have a rotisserie chicken tray and a gallon milk jug, which might work. All right, so draining the radiator, and my system of milk jug and rotisserie chicken containers actually worked pretty well. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm looking to disconnect the radiator fans, which are right here. There's one on each side, I believe. This is clearly an aftermarket radiator, which is pretty cool, pretty cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna disconnect those bad boys. if I can figure out where the... I can't do it with one hand, so I'm gonna set the camera down and disconnect these. All right, so I got the radiator fan wires disconnected. I feel like 50% of the time I break these things. This one had a tab that you push down. If you're not sure how it works, you gotta push that tab down and then wiggle a lot. It's usually kind of stuck. Okay, next, you can see right behind it is the bottom radiator hose. I'm gonna take that off and I assume drain more, come back, drain more antifreeze into my rotisserie chicken container. Let's go. Also, my videos shouldn't really be how-to videos, if that's not obvious already. I'm here just for your entertainment. Alright, I got that hose out. There's the bottom of the radiator, and there's, I'm guessing, the water pump on the engine. So next I'm gonna go up top and take the hoses out there. Okay, I got all the radiator hoses, this bad boy here, all disconnected. So I think next it's this bolt here and this bolt here, and then I can pull the whole radiator straight up. That's my theory. Let's check it out. All right, the radiator's out. Definitely looks like an aftermarket radiator. That's based on my zero experience. Those radiator fans, they look good. And you can see we still got the, I can't see from there. We've still got the air con radiator in there, and I'm gonna leave that because I don't want to disconnect the air conditioning system because I don't want to deal with the Freon removal. But you can see now we got a lot more space to work on things. So I'm gonna pull the rest of these radiator hoses off, and then we can start to get into the power steering pump, the alternator, and the air conditioning compressor. Progress. Because this is my first engine pull out of a car and I don't really know what I'm doing, I'm labeling everything I can with painter's tape. I mean, it's pretty obvious. This hose goes to the top of the radiator, but who knows what I'm gonna remember in 2 months when I put the other one in. So I'm labeling everything I can. Seems like not a bad idea since I don't know what I'm doing. Next, I'm gonna pull this coolant related thing. Okay, the internet says, I think, that this is an expansion tank. Okay, next I'm going to take the air intake out. This has an aftermarket one. I don't know what brand it is. So it's got a cone air filter that goes down next to the front wheel, front tire. So I'm going to pop the mass airflow sensor, MAP sensor, I believe that is, that tells the ECU how much air is coming in, I think. So I think just a couple clamps here and this will pop right off. And then I'm gonna look at taking these belts off. I'm not sure how to do that. Maybe we can figure it out. Okay, next I'm gonna pull the alternator out. First I gotta get rid of the alternator and power steering fluid pump belt. So the alternator pivots on a bolt right here, and this side is the tensioner. It goes up or down for more or less tension on the belt. So I think you loosen this one, and that one, they're all 12 millimeter. And then you need to pop that connector off and the positive battery there, which is also, I believe, well, I'll mess with that. I think it's also a 12 mil. So that's what's happening. Let's get cracking. All right, I'm gonna pull the air conditioning compressor. It's bolted to a bracket, which seems to bolt here and maybe back there or something. Okay, I've got everything unbolted on the aircon compressor, and I've got it unbolted from the mounting bracket. I'm eventually going to swing it over and put it here, but for the time being I'm going to leave it right here so it doesn't crimp the hoses any longer than I need to. And now the mounting bracket I'm going to bolt back on because I think that this here is a good point to hook on when it comes time to hoist the engine out of the car. So yeah, that's where I'm at. And I still have no idea how to unhook this bracket. It's frustrating because I'm sure it's easy once you know how. All right, the air conditioner compressor is all loose, ready to move. Now I'm just down to the power steering pump. There's 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3. Let's pull those. Okay, I got the power steering pump loose. I'm setting it off to the side for a minute as best I can. And there was one wire to disconnect, this little wire right here. Now everything is loose or out of the way. I think next, if my YouTube education serves me correctly, is we're gonna pull. One thing I want to point out is that I don't have an air pump, which should be right here. I'm guessing the previous owner deleted it. There's a lot of mods on this car. Obviously the air intake that I already took out. And I got a catch can back there. It's got an aftermarket downpipe and exhaust too. Also, it has a flux capacitor. No, it's a Cobb access port, which I believe you tune the car with. I don't know anything about any of this stuff. I'm just learning as I go. So, no secondary air pump. Hope that's not a problem for emissions. Doesn't kick a light on the dashboard, because this right here is just hanging out by itself. We'll find out. That's where I'm going to stop for this weekend. I got to mow the lawn before it rains again. I got at least 2 hours before it rains. Yeah, but pretty happy with the progress I made this weekend. Catch you next weekend.